Hey, Ron Nicoletti here with Angela Hermann. Hi, Angela.
Hi,
And we're
Ronnie.
going to take a look at the Pegasus Philly and Man Turf Grade 3 event, 1 mile and 1/16th on the turf, 4-year-olds and up, $500,000. So, Angela, let's go through the card and see who we like and who we dislike in this spot. We'll start it off. We'll go alphabetical order. We can go with Artie's Princess. We'll start with first. And this one from the Saffie Joseph Jr. Bond, last seen at Woodbine.
Last seen a Woodbine on the synthetic, and that's the main question with Artie's Princess, both the distance and the surface. She's done most of her work on an all-weather surface at Woodbine and Presque Isle, and getting her back to the turf and stretching her out and putting her on the rail, I thought maybe put Artie's Princess up against it, but the main influence I see with Artie's Princess is on the pace. I think that she'll be at least a part of it, maybe a length or so behind, but keeping it honest up front.
Yeah, stretching out from those sprints on the Tapeta, certainly you'd think this horse would be on the engine a little bit. Now, Delica, we're going to talk about next, the German bred, and this one from the Al Stoll Bond. And this one comes off a really nice victory in the Grade 3 Cardinal. And I want you to remember that name because there's a horse that we both like in here that this horse ran against, but we'll talk about that. Really nice performance by this horse. Speed has been good on the turf course at Gulfstream Park, and that's how this horse won this race.
Yes, it is front runner friendly on that grass course, and that should suit this mare very well. This is quite a swan song for her if she can pull it off, and she comes off that win and off a slight layoff. I don't think that she's going to be able to get that kind of setup in here. I think there's enough pace to keep Delica maybe a length or so off of it, and I thought that she might end up close, but not in front by the time all is said and done, just because of the race flow.
Well, when we get ready to do the show, I asked Angela who she liked, and of course she said Wakanaka, who I like too, here the orange spread. Now, this one is going to stretch out to the mile and the 16th after rallying to beat next out stakes winners Stolen Holiday and Delica. Remember, I told you to remember that name in the 1 mile fall harvest at Keeneland. Billy Mott has Joel Rosario returning on this Grade 2 winner at this mile and the 16th distance. I like this horse today.
I like her a lot, and they thought enough of her when they brought her over from Europe to throw her right into this race last January. Now, she didn't follow through that day. Regal Glory ran away from that field. She loses nothing in defeat because she has become the filly that they kind of thought that she'd be when she came to America. I forgive her for the Woodbine Mile 2. Toss that one out. She was maybe in a touch over her head against the males. She fits against this kind of group. I don't think that she'll be too far out of it, and I think that things really fall in the corner of Wakanaka if they set up how they look on paper.
The British bred, Sweet Enough. This one from the Roger Atfield Bond, and you can see tuned it up on the on the to Peter at Woodbine. Came here to Gulfstream Park and won a nice tune-up here against 62,500 optional claimers.
Another pace factor, and Sweet Enough didn't have the best of it up at Woodbine. That she was in the same race as Artie's Princess and got shuffled back a touch on the rail when she got into a multiple horse speed duel. Sweet Enough, I thought, like Artie's Princess, has to take a giant step forward and might be doing it in a spot that doesn't favor her as far as her style.
Now, Mona Stella we'll talk about next, ridden by Mike Smith, and this one trained by Patrick Biancone. I was into Sunshine Philly and Mad Turf against Florida Breds. Ran good, was second, was only beaten a length by Sweet Danny Girl, and I think this one might be in a little bit of a tough spot.
And credit to Sweet Danny Girl for running the great race that she did on the front end. I didn't think there was a lot standing in Mona Stella's way. Taking the big step up into this company, in against Open again, Mona Stella's going to have her work cut out for her.
You know, Queen Goddess is a really consistent, classy daughter of Empire Maker. Turns back, returned from about a 7-month layoff to win the 9-furlong Grade 3 Frankel at Santa Anita. Michael McCarthy's the trainer. So you got Louis Sayers in the saddle today. I like this horse. Here's another part of the pace scenario.
Yes, very much so. Queen Goddess isn't one-dimensional. She can come from just a touch off the pace, but Queen Goddess hasn't had a whole bunch in her way out there. I don't know what I think of the filly and mare turf division out in California. We'll see what Queen Goddess brings to the table this time, but both times that she has left California, they've been two of her lesser performances on her page. She needs to prove she can take her show on the road.
Written, as I said, by Louis Sayers. We're not done yet. That's what we got. Lady Rockstar coming up, and this one from Brendan Walsh's barn. Tyler Gaffleone's going to be in the saddle. Comes here 1 mile Swanee River and runs very good behind aforementioned Stolen Holiday. So I think this horse has a lot lot of upside and might be right there at the wire.
Yes, this would be my second choice and my biggest threat to Wakanaka because I thought that was a perfect prep. She didn't draw very well in the Suwannee River, but she ran good. She got a little bit tired at the end, but she had the right to. She hadn't run since July.
Now, this race, we've talked about it. We're up to Lady Rockstar. I see a really hot pace in this race for a couple of horses that we met. So I think that's horses that come from off the pace. You might want to give them a second look. And maybe it's a horse like Justify My Love, the Brazilian bred. This from the Palo Lobo barn. Hasn't been seen since that 80 optional claimer at Churchill Downs where this horse came from off the pace. It was a long drive, but held on gamely.
She did hold on very gamely. Justify My Love is another one that I thought came in with a more perfect sort of scenario that she's not going to see here. But Justify My Love is going to be a good price. If you liked her in both of those last two, you're going to get a lot more bang for your buck today.
And finally, the last but certainly not least in this race is Shantasara, the Irish bred from Chad Brown's barn and hasn't been seen since the fall harvest. Who beat it? Wakanaka.
Right. So if you do like her a little bit, you have to give a look to Wakanaka. And whatever happened in the fall harvest, it looks like she's rebounded from it well, or she wouldn't be in this spot, right? She would have been the horse to beat if you wiped that one off the page. She's probably the horse to beat anyway, but I'm going to give it a shot just because she was a no-show at Keeneland.
Yeah, we'll touch on Baystorm just a little bit in here. And this one from the Jonathan Thomas barn was in the Suwannee River, finished third behind Stolen Holiday, and a horse you like, Lady Rockstar.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and Baystorm got the best of it on the inside. She got down to the rail. She kept going on the front end. It was a testing pace, but I think it'll be a testing pace in here. So fans of Baystorm are going to hope that she clears and that a couple of the other pace horses don't come out of the gate so quick.
The last horse we'll touch on in the Pegasus Filly and Mare Turf is the last horse is Perseverantia, and this one from Cherie DeVoe's barn hasn't been seen since Churchill Downs. Ran good behind Dalika in the Cardinal.
Yes, and I suppose this is the horse if you think things do melt down, if you think it's going to be a fast pace and everybody goes bonkers on the front end, this one can pick up the pieces, and she can go pretty much wherever. I mean, she's gone to Woodbine, to Gulfstream, to Keeneland. She doesn't need to bring her course with her. So an interesting long shot.
Julian Leparoux gets the call on that horse for Cherie DeVoe. So that is the field for the Pegasus Filly and Mare Turf Grade 3 event. You and I are going to be Wakanaka.
Yes, absolutely. If Wakanaka comes home in front, you'll see us arm in arm going to the windows.